Coming at you from Bellingham, Washington is Two Nuts in the Sack. I'm Julie.
I'm Gavin.
And today we're going to talk about the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight, the world's greatest detective, Batsy, Bruce Wayne, Matches Malone, the Masked Manhunter, Demon of the Night, I Am Vengeance, I Am the Night, Bean Man, the Winged Avenger, Detective, Superman's Ass Kicker, the goddamn Batman. Figure out who we're talking about yet?
I think the last line was pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, yes, we are going to talk about Batman. We're going to start off with the top 10 Batmans. Number 10, George Clooney.
Obviously at the bottom for many obvious reasons. None more fitting than bat nipples.
Bat nipples, yes, hard leather nipples.
Yeah, hard plastic. Made it look like he actually had a six-pack when he totally did not.
I don't think he had any muscles.
Yeah. The suit really makes the man, you know?
This is true.
Yeah. George Clooney himself even apologized publicly for his portrayal of the Masked Avenger. All right, who's next?
Number 9, Robert Lowry.
Robert Lowry is not a name that many of us are familiar with. He was in a 1949 film called Batman and Robin, in which he was the very first actor to do a live portrayal of the Caped Crusader. The first man to don the cape and cowl, so to speak. His co-star was Johnny Duncan as Robin, and they faced off against the black hooded mastermind, the Wizard, who had stolen a remote control device that could be used to remotely control any automobile within a 50-mile radius. He did this so that he could obtain diamonds used to power the device, which really kind of harkens back to the Batman and Robin, the Clooney and Chris O'Donnell, where Mr. Freeze was stealing diamonds so that he could power his device. Was this an homage? I don't know.
All I think about when you say that is Seal and the kiss from the rose from the grave. That's what goes through my head when you start talking about that movie.
Yeah, but that was Kilmer. That wasn't George Clooney.
Oh, wrong movie. Right. But it just, I don't know. Wrong movie. Okay.
So, but there's another segue into a good number 8, which was
Val Kilmer.
Now, I fucking love Val Kilmer. He, despite all of his nuttiness, he is a pretty amazing actor. My favorite movie, Real Genius, where he played the really smart kid who was figuring out lasers and shit, but he was burnt out on being such a smart kid and kind of became just a smart ass, but was still a genius at the same time.
Not to mention he's pretty.
And he was Iceman.
He's the prettiest Batman ever. The most beautiful.
Meh.
Whatever, Gavin.
All right, who's next?
This brings us to number 7, Dietrich Bader.
Now, Dietrich Bader, I liked as he was on a series called Batman Brave and Bold, which I used to watch with Layla. She was a big fan of it. And he did a very, very good job. He had that could put that certain gravel in his voice, which just was very fitting for a Batman character. Although he was probably doing an impression of Kevin Conroy, but it was still a very good portrayal of Batman.
Now, when you talk about Layla, you didn't explain that that's your daughter. Or you did say my daughter Layla. Never mind, you did say my daughter, but I mean, how old is she?
My 8-year-old.
Yes,
And we
thank
used
you.
to watch that when she was like 4. But it was really cool because it had like golden and silver age characters. Like Plastic Man was a big part of it, and like villains and like the rogues gallery. But it was very good. And we're gonna have to watch that sometime because it was just a good show. And I like Dietrich Bader. He's a funny guy. I'm sorry, I don't mean to gush, but he's a really hilarious fella. Okay, who's next?
Brings us to number 6, Olin Soul, another animated series Batman.
Who the flip is that? That
He's
wasn't
from 1926.
okay.
He's the beginning of Batman. He's the Caped Crusader. He's the beginning.
Was he like the character that the Cape Crusader was based off?
Yes. Yeah, he's the beginning of it all.
Because I don't like Batman wasn't a thing until 1938.
This is 1926 and
So like Bob Kane, Bill Finger probably took their cues from what was his name again?
Olin Soul.
Soul. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
And
we'll have to look that one up.
yeah, no, definitely, most definitely.
All right, who's next?
This brings us to number 5, Ben Affleck.
Batfleck.
Batfleck.
Not Batflack.
Batfleck.
Batfleck.
Backflick.
It's not Affleck.
Backflick.
It's Affleck.
Affleck. I just think you're a duck. You a duck? Are you
Good
a
God.
duck?
Anyhow, everybody gives shit to Ben Affleck, but I thought he was a good Batman.
He's so old.
But he was supposed to be old.
Oh, he's too
It was
old.
called Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice.
My mom's name is Martha, too.
Well, give it all the shit that you want. But it showed where he was in his life. He's getting a lot older. He's seen a lot of battles. And he needs to figure out a way to continue to protect his city and the world as he's kind of fading away. So it was a pretty good portrayal. I liked the silver hair. I liked that he was definitely like way more armored up because he was just tired of getting his ass kicked all the fucking time. He almost killed Superman, which was pretty fucking cool because only the world's greatest detective could figure out A, who Superman was, and B, how to kill him, and C, he was just a regular dude who just had a bunch of fucking money. I mean, honestly, it was a pretty, like, true performance of Batman. So I got no qualms with Batfleck.
All right, that's well said. This brings us to number 4, Michael Keaton. My favorite Batman.
Well,
My favorite.
He's got the special place in our hearts because it was
Our
like
childhood. Yeah.
our formative years. Batman Returns, 2 great movies, nice little introduction into the Rogues Gallery. You get Joker, you get Penguin, you get Catwoman.
It kind of introduces the first darkness of Batman too. So it's like the beginning of all the darkness.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it was like you go from Adam West, Batman 66, to Batman 89, and it was much darker, much more grim. I mean, it was directed by fucking Tim Burton, who admittedly had never read a comic book in his life.
I was just thinking
read
about
the script and wanted to make the movie, and it was dark and twisted, and it showed a little bit more of the grimness and the gravitas of who Batman actually was.
I was thinking of the Penguin and how creepy he is.
Yeah, and like when he's Danny DeVito, holy shit.
Yeah.
He was just so gross when he was eating the fish.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, the fish, the raw fish. Nom 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 nom.
Yeah. And Christopher Walken, he was amazing in that movie. All right, who's up next?
This brings us to number 3, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. It was good, but I didn't like his voice. Where's the trigger?
You know, he wanted to give up the torch to Batman to somebody else, give them a chance. So he gave up being Batman.
Well, I mean, like, he definitely, he had a good arc. I mean, like, those movies, like, Standalone is probably the best, like, cinematographic portrayal of Batman. Like, I really liked the progression. Like, they did a really good job of, like, establishing the character, and it was, like, a good way to arc from the beginnings of Batman, because we all know the story. It's one of those tropes that's just been driven into our head over and over and over again. But it was brought about by Chris Nolan in a new way that just made it so much more like real, even though it was like it's total fantasy. But he did a really good job of portraying that character and how that character kind of, you know, slips into the madness of feeling so driven to save his city and the world from supervillains, even though he was just a dude. Because he, you know, they and fucking Michael Caine, don't even get me started. He was just so amazing.
At least Christian Bale didn't have an all-out tantrum like he did in other movies.
Oh, good for him. Do I come trouncing onto your podcast? Oh, la-di-da-di-da.
All right, this brings us to number 2, Adam West. Classic.
Oh.
Classic.
You know, I've listened to so many podcasts and seen so many interviews with Adam West, and honestly, like, that was he was truly just one of those ones that just had fun in the role.
He's just so innocent and sweet, and I love his dancing
and the William Shatner School of Acting. But I mean, like, he was just his cadence, his persona, and his portrayal of Batman was fun. I mean, like, it was supposed to be, it's a comic book. It's as serious as you want to, like, make it. He's in a comic book.
Right.
So it's got to be fun. It's got to be something that's going to reach out. And it did go. I mean, like, even though Batman 66 only ran for 3 seasons, everybody still remembers that. And they can still remember Adam West as Batman. And Burt Ward, amazing actor as well. Well, not so much amazing actor, but he was an amazing human being and still is. You know, he has his own dog food.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he has a charity that's called, like, Gentle Giants or something similar to that.
Wow.
And he runs a shelter which he has over 70 large breed dogs, and he formulated a food to take care of them. So that, because large breed dogs typically have short little lives, but with his food, he's got several large breed dogs on his ranch that are well into their teens.
That's really cool.
Yeah, little fun fact.
All right, and this brings us to number one, Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy. Oh my God. That man. That is the voice whenever I pick up a comic book, whenever I just see a Batman meme. His voice is who I hear. Even at the top of the show when we said, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman. Like, that is Kevin Conroy. And that, like, he so defined that character because, like, the Batman the Animated Series kind of ended right after Batman Returns came out.
Right.
And that was, like, in our formative years. And
Yeah, in the 90s.
in the 90s, and yeah, and it was such a good show. It won so many awards. It was just amazing. So Kevin Conroy, he deserves to be number one on that list. And
Absolutely.
I actually heard that Kevin Conroy finally got his dream of actually playing a live action Batman in the CW crossover from last season that was Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And actually Burt Ward was in that as well. But it's something I really need to watch. We just I haven't had a chance. I tried to
Right.
watch it on cable and I fell into it, like, hit a paywall. But I'm like this close. Like, just so close to just buying it. But I'll resist. I'll figure out another way to watch it. It'll probably be on my phone on the CW app.
Of course.
But if that ain't a kick in the sack, I don't know what is.
All right, this is Two Nuts in the Sack signing off.